Alien football babes call an audible on coach's night. Collision course. The punching bag swayed under Hassan al-Rashid's fists, each strike precise despite the tears blurring his vision. 3 years since Kareem's death, and the gym still smelled like his brother's cologne. Hassan hit harder, pretending the pain in his knuckles could replace the ache in his chest. The coastal town was dead quiet at midnight, just Hassan, the bag, and memories he couldn't escape. His champion's belt hung on the wall, won the same month he'd lost Kareem to sudden illness. Victory and grief forever tangled. Then the sky caught fire. Hassan stopped mid-punch, staring through the gym's windows as streaks of light blazed overhead. Meteors, he thought, until one changed trajectory, deliberately. It curved downward, trailing blue flame, and slammed into his parking lot with an impact that shattered every window. He ran outside. Where his truck had been parked sat a ship, sleek bronze metal, steaming in the cool air, roughly the size of a van. As Hassan approached, hands raised peacefully, a section melted open. 3 women emerged into the smoke and starlight. The first was tall and powerful, with bronze skin that seemed metallic in the glow from her ship. Flowing patterns of light moved across her arms and shoulders like living tattoos, shifting from gold to crimson. She moved like a fighter, weight balanced, eyes scanning for threats. Her gaze locked on Hassan with startling intensity. The silver woman was leaner, with silver skin that reflected moonlight. Geometric markings covered her temples and neck, glowing with soft blue light that pulsed in mathematical patterns. Her movements were calculated, precise, as she assessed their surroundings with obvious intelligence. The pearl-white skin had a gentle warmth that seemed to emit its own light. She moved with a healer's grace, immediately checking her companions for injuries before turning kind eyes on Hassan. The bronze woman, clearly their leader, spoke in musical tones that meant nothing to Hassan. She touched a device on her wrist, frowned, and shook her head. Their translator was broken. Hassan raised his hands higher, speaking slowly. "I won't hurt you. You're safe here." They couldn't understand him either, but the pearl-white woman smiled. That gesture worked across species, and took a careful step forward. She pointed to herself, then to her companions, then made a gesture Hassan recognized from 100 action movies. They were being hunted. The bronze leader studied Hassan's gym, her eyes catching on the championship belt visible through the broken window. She pointed to it, then mimicked a fighting stance, so perfect Hassan's coach instincts kicked in instantly. She shadowboxed 3 quick combinations, jab, cross, hook, then looked at him with raised eyebrows. She recognized a fighter. More than that, she recognized strategy, training, mastery. Hassan nodded slowly. "You fight too. Different style, but you understand combat." The silver woman approached, touching the device on her wrist again. A holographic display materialized, showing star charts, pursuit trajectories, their damaged ship. She pointed at the damage, then at the sky, her expression clearly saying, "We can't leave. Not yet." The pearl-white healer touched Hassan's shoulder, and warmth flooded through him, not burning, but soothing, like sunshine after rain. She gestured to the gym, asking permission with her eyes. Hassan made a decision. Inside, quickly, before someone sees the crash. He didn't know if they understood the words, but his gestures were clear. The 3 women followed him into the gym, bringing light from their glowing skin that made the space feel surreal. Hassan locked the door and lowered the security shutters, his mind racing. 3 alien refugees, a crashed ship in his parking lot, hunters pursuing them through space, and somehow, despite everything, his first coherent thought was that they looked exhausted, scared, and in desperate need of help. The bronze leader approached the championship belt, touching it reverently.
She turned to Hassan, her light pattern shifting to deeper gold, and spoke in that melodic language. Though he couldn't understand the words, her tone was clear: respect, recognition, kinship. Hassan took down the belt and held it. My brother and I won this together. He trained me for years, died before he could see me defend the title. He didn't know why he was telling them, they couldn't understand, but something about their presence made him want to share. The pearl-white healer placed her warm hand over his heart, her eyes full of compassion. The silver woman touched her own chest, then gestured to all three of them, her geometric markings pulsing sadly. They'd lost people too, lost homes, lost everything. The bronze leader removed a piece of armor from her shoulder, ceremonial, beautiful, clearly precious. She held it beside Hassan's belt, comparing them. Symbols of victory, of loss, of warrior's pride. She met Hassan's eyes, and in that moment, Hassan understood. They were the same. Fighters who'd survived, but lost pieces of themselves in the process. She offered her hand, and Hassan took it. Her bronze skin was warm, her grip strong. The silver woman placed her hand over both of theirs. The pearl-white healer completed the circle, her warmth enveloping them all. 4 warriors from different worlds, connected by loss and combat, and the desperate hope that maybe, together, they could survive what was coming.
Speaking in motion. Dawn light filtered through the gym's shutters, casting stripes across 3 sleeping alien women and 1 exhausted human. Hassan had given them his office couch while he dozed in a chair, and now he watched them wake with fluid grace that spoke of military training. The bronze leader, he'd started thinking of her as Denna, stretched with a fighter's awareness of her body. Her light patterns flowed from gold to amber as she noticed Hassan watching. She smiled, then gestured to the boxing ring with obvious eagerness. Communication through combat. It made perfect sense. Hassan climbed through the ropes, and Denna followed. She took a fighting stance that was simultaneously familiar and utterly alien. Weight distributed differently, hands positioned for strikes from unexpected angles. She threw a slow-motion combination, letting Hassan see the mechanics. He copied her movement, adjusting for human anatomy. Denna's eyes lit up, her patterns glowing brighter. She corrected his elbow position with gentle touches, her bronze skin warm against his. Each adjustment brought them closer until they were moving through forms together, learning each other's combat languages. The silver woman, Sira, he decided, watched with calculating eyes. Her geometric markings pulsed as she analyzed their movements, and suddenly a holographic display appeared above her wrist. She'd mapped the entire sequence, showing optimal force vectors and balance points. She looked at Hassan with something like respect, gesturing to his instinctive adjustments that matched her mathematical ideals. Hassan laughed, delighted. "You're a tactician. You think in patterns, probabilities." He pulled out his training notebooks, showing her his fight strategies. Sira gasped, her markings blazing bright as she absorbed his diagrams with hungry intelligence. The pearl-white healer, Jolie, approached Hassan with concern, touching his chronically sore shoulder. He'd broken it years ago, and it never healed right. Her warm hands pressed against the injury, and heat bloomed through muscle and bone. The pain that had been his constant companion melted away under her touch. Hassan stared at her in wonder. "How did you—" Jolie smiled and took his hand, pressing it to her chest, where warmth concentrated most strongly. He could feel her heart beating, faster than human, a rapid flutter that spoke of different biology. She guided his hand to her arm, letting him feel how the warmth flowed through her like blood through veins. She was showing him how she worked, trusting him with vulnerability. The morning became an exchange of languages written in movement and touch. Denna taught Hassan grappling techniques from her world, moves that used momentum in ways Earth physics made difficult but not impossible. Each throw brought them closer until Hassan could read the subtle shifts in her light patterns that telegraphed her next move. Sira showed him tactical holographs, battles her people had fought, strategies that would make Earth's greatest generals weep with envy. Hassan countered with boxing's beautiful brutality, the sweet science of calculated violence. Her geometric markings pulsed faster with excitement as she understood, combat as chess, each move setting up the next. Jolie healed every small injury, split knuckles, sore muscles, the old break in Hassan's nose that ached before rain. Each healing touch lingered longer, her warmth seeping deeper than physical repair. She was healing his grief, too, somehow, with touches that said, "You're not alone anymore." By afternoon, they'd developed crude communication, pointing, gesturing, demonstrating through combat forms. Denna challenged Hassan to spar, and their bout became a conversation, question and answer and punches and blocks, attack and counter, until they were both laughing and exhausted on the mat. Hassan found himself pinned beneath her, Denna's bronze face inches from his, her light patterns swirling gold and crimson. Her breath came fast, her eyes searching his. Something shifted between them, combat bleeding into something more intimate. She touched Hassan's face with careful fingers, tracing his features like memorizing a map. Hassan's hand found her waist, feeling the warrior's muscles beneath bronze skin. The moment stretched, neither moving, both afraid to break whatever was building between them. Sira's voice, melodic and urgent, shattered the spell. She was at the window, her markings flashing warning red. Hassan didn't need translation. He recognized threat assessment when he saw it. Someone was coming. Hassan and Dennis scrambled up. Through the shutters, he could see two figures approaching the gym, men in dark suits, moving with military precision. They stopped at the crashed ship, examining it with obvious expertise. The hunters. They'd found the refugees. Dennis' light patterns went blood red. She spoke rapidly to her companions, her tone commanding. Sira's fingers flew over her whisk device, calculating escape routes and odds. Jolie looked at Hassan with frightened eyes, her warmth flickering like a candle in wind. Hassan's mind raced through options with fighter's instinct. Run? No time, they'd be spotted. Hide? The ship gave them away. Fight? Against what? Trained soldiers with unknown weapons? No, not fight. Misdirect. He grabbed Denna's hand, pulling her attention to him. He gestured to the ring, to the heavy bags, to the equipment filling his gym. Then he acted out a scenario. Lure them inside, use the environment, create confusion, slip out during chaos. Sira's eyes widened, her markings pulsing as she grasped his strategy. She manipulated her holographs frantically, mapping the gym, calculating angles and timing. She nodded once, sharp and certain. It could work. But they needed trust, complete trust. These three alien women had to believe that Hassan, whom they'd known less than 12 hours, would risk everything to save them. Denna cupped Hassan's face in both hands, her bronze skin warm against his cheeks. Her light patterns shifted through every color, gold to crimson to deep blue, and Hassan realized he was learning to read them. Gold, respect. Crimson, passion. Blue, deeper trust than words. She kissed him then, fierce and claiming, pouring everything she couldn't say into that contact. When she pulled back, Sira was there, her cool silver lips pressing to his in calculated affection. Jolie completed the circle, her warmth flooding through Hassan like sunrise, healing the last broken pieces of his heart. 3 alien women, 1 human man, a plan that would probably get them all killed, and the absolute certainty that he'd found something worth fighting for, worth protecting, worth building a life around. Hassan grabbed his brother's championship belt, solid gold, pure conductor, possibly useful, and began explaining his strategy through gestures and combat demonstrations. Outside, the hunters moved closer. Inside, 4 warriors prepared for the fight that would determine whether love could survive when worlds collided.
The final round. The hunters entered the gym with professional caution, weapons raised. Hassan stood in the center of the boxing ring, alone, hands raised peacefully. "Can I help you, gentlemen?" The lead hunter, tall, scarred, dangerous, spoke in accented English. "We're looking for crashed objects, satellite debris. Seen anything unusual?" "Just me and my insomnia," Hassan lied smoothly. "Gym's closed, though. You need to leave." The hunter's eyes swept the space, cataloging exits, shadows, possibilities. He didn't believe Hassan. Worse, he didn't care about pretense. "We have authorization to search." Denna dropped from the ceiling rafters behind him. She'd learned silence from Hassan's stealth training, and her bronze skin had dimmed to near invisibility in the shadows. Her strike was perfect, a nerve cluster hit that dropped the hunter unconscious without killing him. Hassan had spent hours teaching her restraint, showing her human fragility. The second hunter spun, firing some kind of energy weapon. Sira was ready. She'd calculated the exact angle, and the shot ricocheted off the heavy bag she'd positioned, disrupting his aim. She flowed from cover with geometric precision, her movements mathematically optimal as she disarmed him. But there were more outside. The gym's shutters exploded inward, and 4 more hunters poured through. These weren't taking chances. They fired on sight, energy bolts searing the air. Jolie grabbed Hassan, yanking him behind the concrete support pillar as the ring above them vaporized in plasma fire. Her pearl-white skin flared bright with panic, but her hands stayed steady as she checked him for injuries. "I'm okay," Hassan gasped. "We need—" Denna was already moving, her combat instincts merging with Hassan's training. She used the gym's equipment like weapons, throwing weight plates like discus, swinging from pull-up bars to deliver devastating kicks, turning Hassan's boxing ring into her battlefield. Her light patterns blazed crimson with warrior's fury. Sira coordinated from behind cover, her holographic display showing hunter positions and optimal strike patterns. She called instructions in her melodic language, and Denna responded instantly, perfect synchronization between tactical mind and warrior's body. But they were outnumbered and outgunned. The hunters had body armor, superior weapons, and no moral hesitation. One of them clipped Denna's shoulder with a plasma shot, and she went down hard. Hassan didn't think. He grabbed a barbell, heavy steel, 45 pounds of pure earth metal, and charged. The hunter turned too slowly, and Hassan's swing connected with his weapon, sending it flying. His follow-up strike, a perfect right cross, everything Kareem had taught him about transferring power from legs through hips to fist, dropped the hunter cold. Jolie was there instantly, her warm hands pressing to Denna's wound. Pearl-white light blazed, and the burn began healing before Hassan's eyes. Denna grabbed his hand, squeezing gratitude, then leapt back into combat. They fought as a unit. Hassan's boxing combinations merged with Denna's alien techniques, Sira's tactical genius directing their movements, Jolie healing injuries the moment anyone faltered. 4 beings from different worlds, moving like they'd trained together for years instead of hours. But more hunters kept coming. Hassan's gym was being destroyed around them, equipment shattered, walls scorched, his brother's legacy turned to rubble, and their only exit was blocked by armed soldiers with orders to capture or kill. "The ship!" Hassan shouted, gesturing frantically. "Can it fly?" Sira shook her head, her markings flashing desperate red. "Not enough power, damaged systems, impossible." Hassan looked at the championship belt in his hand, solid gold, pure conductor, his brother's final gift. He'd held on to it like grief itself, unable to let go, afraid that without it he'd forget Kareem's sacrifice. But Kareem had taught him something more important than holding on to the past. Protect what matters, fight for the living, give everything for the people you love. Hassan threw the belt to Sira. "Use it! The gold! It's a conductor, right? Wire it into your power systems." Sira caught it, her silver eyes widening with understanding. She spoke rapidly to Denna and Jolie, her voice urgent with hope. Denna kissed Hassan hard and fast, then grabbed him and ran. They burst through the rear exit, Denna carrying Hassan over one shoulder with casual strength, Jolie flanking them. Energy bolts sizzled past, too close, and Hassan felt the heat of near misses. They reached the ship, the door melted open, and Denna literally threw Hassan inside before diving after him. Sierra was already at the controls, her fingers dancing over alien interfaces as she integrated the golden belt into their power core. The hunters surrounded the ship, weapons charging for killing shots. The belt blazed with golden light, channeling power through damaged systems. The ship shuddered, lifted 6 inches, and the hunters fired. Jolie screamed, throwing herself over Hassan as the cabin flooded with heat and light. He felt her pearl-white skin burning against his, felt her warmth flare desperately as she tried to shield him from weapons designed to kill. Then Denna was there, her bronze arms wrapped around both of them, her light patterns blazing bright enough to blind. Sierra shouted something, and the ship lurched upward, too fast, spinning wildly, escaping through sheer desperate momentum rather than skill. They broke atmosphere in seconds, the hunters' final shots missing by inches. Earth fell away below them, beautiful and blue and temporarily safe. In the sudden silence, 4 beings gasped for breath. Jolie's skin was scored with burn marks, her warmth flickering weakly. Sierra's markings pulsed erratically with exhaustion. Denna's light patterns had faded to dim amber. Hassan's knuckles bled, his shoulder screamed, and every breath tasted like smoke and copper. But they were alive, together. Against impossible odds, through desperate strategy and combined strength, they'd survived. Denna pulled Hassan close, pressing her forehead to his, their gesture, learned in combat and sealed in trust. Sierra abandoned the controls to join them, her cool silver hands finding his. Jolie wrapped them all in weakening warmth, her healing touch spreading comfort even as she needed healing herself. Hassan held his brother's belt, now integrated into alien technology, glowing with combined human and extraterrestrial power, and understood. Kareem's legacy wasn't gold or glory. It was teaching Hassan to fight for family, to protect those he loved, to give everything when it mattered most. These 3 alien women had become his family, and he would fight for them until his last breath.
Home. The ship hung in Earth's orbit, hidden behind the planet's magnetic field. Sierra had found a stable position where hunters couldn't detect them, and Jolie had healed everyone's injuries with patient, exhausting care. Now they drifted in zero gravity, 4 beings trying to figure out what came next. Hassan floated near the viewport, staring at Earth below. His gym was destroyed, his life disrupted, everything familiar torn apart. But when Denna drifted up behind him, wrapping bronze arms around his waist, her light patterns shifting to peaceful gold, he couldn't regret a single choice. Sierra showed him holographic options. They could leave, head for distant systems where her people had refugee colonies, or they could stay, hidden in orbit, visiting Earth when safe. The geometric markings on her silver skin pulsed uncertainly, waiting for Hassan to choose. "I can't leave Earth permanently," Hassan said, gesturing to the planet. "It's my home, but I can't leave you either." Jolie translated his tone if not his words, her warm hands squeezing his. She showed him images on the holographic display, their world destroyed by war, her family lost, the desperate flight that had brought them here. Her pearl-white skin flickered sadly, and Hassan pulled her close. "We'll figure it out," Hassan promised. "Together. That's what teams do." Over the following days, they built a plan. The ship would stay in orbit, but they'd retrofit a shuttle for Earth visits. Sierra could hack human systems to create identities, immigrants with rare genetic conditions that explained their unusual skin. Denna would continue teaching combat. Jolie could open a wellness practice. Hassan would rebuild his gym. They'd live between worlds, human and alien, Earth and stars. The first time Hassan brought them back to his destroyed gym, all 3 women stood silently, witnessing what they'd cost him. He took their hands, bronze, silver, pearl white, and smiled. "We'll rebuild. Better. Together." And they did.
New beginnings. 6 months later, Hassan's gym gleamed with renovations. New equipment, repaired walls, and one significant addition, a small apartment built above the main floor, designed for 4. Denna had become the town's most popular self-defense instructor.
She wore long sleeves to hide her bronze skin's light patterns, but her students didn't care about her appearance. They cared that she taught them to feel powerful. Women drove from 3 counties away to train with the quiet immigrant who moved like water and fought like lightning. Sira worked as a remote security consultant, her alien perspective revolutionizing human tactical thinking. Companies paid premium rates for her probability analyses, never knowing their best consultant calculated in 4 dimensions. She'd learned to love Earth coffee and terrible human puns, and Hassan's heart swelled every time she laughed at his jokes. Jolie's wellness center operated from the gym's back rooms. Her healing warmth, carefully controlled, explained away as specialized heat therapy, helped patients with chronic pain, old injuries, and stubborn ailments. She'd connected deeply with Earth's injured, understanding their suffering from her own experience of loss. The apartment above the gym had become home in ways Hassan's old space never managed. Sira's holographic displays decorated the walls, showing star charts mixed with Hassan's fight footage. Jolie had filled every corner with plants that thrived under her warmth. Denna's ceremonial armor hung beside Hassan's rebuilt championship belt. The gold conductor removed, but the leather and pride intact. On Friday nights, they gathered on the couch, Denna's bronze warmth on one side, Sira's silver coolness on the other, Jolie's pearl glow surrounding them all. They'd watch Hassan's old fights and Denna's combat footage, learning each other's histories, building shared memories from separate pasts. Hassan had learned their language, they'd mastered his. Conversations flowed in mixed tongues, switching mid-sentence, creating something entirely new. "The hunters will return eventually," Sira said one evening, her geometric markings pulsing with concern. "We can't hide forever." "Then we don't hide," Hassan replied, pulling her close. "We prepare, we train, we face whatever comes as a team." Denna's light patterns flared crimson with warriors' approval. Jolie's warmth intensified with pride. Sira's markings celled into peaceful geometric patterns. They'd lost everything: Hassan, his brother, the women, their world. But from ruins, they'd built something new. A family forged in combat and sealed with trust. 4 warriors from different worlds who'd learned that home isn't a place. It's the people you'd fight beside, bleed for, and choose every single day. The championship belt sat on their mantle, no longer a symbol of loss, but of transformation. Gold that had helped them escape, pride that had taught them to survive, legacy that had shown them how to build rather than grieve. Hassan looked at his 3 alien partners, warriors, refugees, lovers, family, and understood what Kareem had been trying to teach him all along. Victory isn't about individual glory. It's about finding your team and fighting for them until your last breath. He'd lost a brother but gained 3 soulmates. His gym had been destroyed but rebuilt stronger. His heart had shattered but healed in bronze, silver, and pearl. And every night, wrapped in bioluminescent warmth and human laughter, Hassan al-Rashid understood. Sometimes the universe doesn't just take. Sometimes it crash lands in your parking lot and gives you everything you never knew you needed. Lessons. Love transcends language. It speaks in touch, in trust, in choosing to stay when running would be easier. Grief doesn't end when you find new love. It transforms, becomes part of your strength, teaches you to hold tighter to what remains. Family isn't defined by biology or even species. It's built by the souls who see your broken pieces and choose to stay anyway. The greatest victories come not from fighting alone in your pain, but from finding your team and letting them help carry the weight.